This video will be the first in a series in which I'm going to explore the fascinating histories of different NFT art projects. Since NFTs are obviously on the blockchain, this means that I'm occasionally going to be explaining smart contract code. If you don't know how to code, then I think these videos will be a great opportunity for you to get your feet wet and learn. Whether you're an investor, an art collector, or developer, I think you have a duty to have at least some basic understanding of how smart contracts work to avoid getting scammed. In this video, I'm going to look at CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks are especially interesting because they were pretty much the first profile picture project, and also because they predate ERC721. Because they predate ERC721, there are some interesting vulnerabilities in the smart contract. CryptoPunks were first launched in 2017 as a collection of 10,000 24 by 24 pixel images. Today, most NFTs are created according to the ERC721 specification. Because storing art and media in general on the blockchain is very expensive, usually artists will take their artwork and then create a hash out of it and then store only the hash on the blockchain. In this way, each NFT is associated with an IPFS link, for example, which contains all the metadata about that NFT, which may include a picture and information about the creator. However, CryptoPunks does not abide by this standard. Instead, the creators of CryptoPunks took a hash of the entire image of the 10,000 CryptoPunks and instead stored that one hash in the smart contract. Here we can see the first 15 lines of the CryptoPunks smart contract, which is built using Solidity. This smart contract predates ERC721 and, in fact, would later become the foundation of ERC721. This contract is based on the ERC20 interstandard, which is why there are variables such as name, symbol, and decimals. If you think about it, it doesn't even make sense for NFTs to have decimals because an NFT is not divisible into multiple parts. Instead of associating each individual punk with its own image, the creators instead took the entire composite image of all 10,000 CryptoPunks and then hashed that one image and then stored that hash here on line 5. We can go to their website on larvalabs.com and then download the actual PNG file, which contains all 10,000 punks. And after hashing it, we can get the same hash that's shown on line 5. So let's visit the Larva Labs page and download the original PNG file. After running SHA-256 on that PNG file, we can see that the hash matches the hash in the smart contract. With ERC721, each NFT has a token URI which points to metadata about that NFT. However, when you purchase a CryptoPunk, you're instead purchasing an index in an array, which does not have any metadata associated with it. I created this visual to show you how this mapping works. Let's say, for example, that there are 6 punks in 2 rows of 3 punks each. The first row could be labeled 1, 2, 3, and the second row could be labeled 4, 5, 6. The numbers are increasing from left to right and then from top to bottom. Alternatively, the punks could be numbered in an increasing order from top to bottom and then left to right, in which case the first row would be 1, 3, and 5, and the second row would be 2, 4, and 6. The problem with this approach is that the order is not written down anywhere in the smart contract. That means when you purchase a punk through the smart contract, you're purchasing an index that corresponds to a number, but you don't actually know which punk you're buying. Generally, it's safe to assume that the ordering is from left to right and from top to bottom. However, this is a general consensus that has been reached by the creators of CryptoPunks and by investors, but it's still not written down in the code. The accepted ordering convention of the punks with punk number 0 at the top left and punk 9999 at the bottom right is also what's shown on the Larva Labs page. For example, let's search for punk 0 here. If we zoom into the top left corner of this composite image of all the punks, we can see that punk 0 does indeed match the punk at the top left corner. The fact that the association between a punk index and its image depends on a centralized web server, larvalabs.com, is a very weak association and completely goes against the permanence and immutability that people find to be one of the best qualities about blockchain. After all, this means that Larva Labs could technically go onto their website at any time and change the image associated with the index. This means that maybe you purchased punk index 0 in the smart contract, but you would go into Larva Labs and you could see punk index 0 pointing to a completely different punk. Obviously, if Larva Labs did that, then the value of their project would plummet and everyone would lose trust in the project. But that was a possibility. The creators of CryptoPunks realized this ambiguity in their smart contract, and 4 years later in 2021, they finally moved the actual images on-chain. We can visit the CryptoPunks on-chain to see how the image is being stored. For example, if we look at punk index 0, we can see that the entire image is being stored on chain without any need for IPFS. In addition, we can get the attributes of Punk 0. Here we see that this NFT is a female with earrings, blonde bob, and green eyeshadow, which indeed matches the NFT in the top left corner. So this new 2021 contract does help reinforce the association between the Punk index and the actual NFT that you've purchased, but it still does not fix the original contract. As we look at the timeline of NFTs on Ethereum, I hope this video has given you an appreciation of the complex digital history of CryptoPunks, as well as an appreciation of why knowing technical coding concepts like ERC20 and ERC21 are vital to appraising these artworks. For example, what is the difference between CryptoPunks and Bored Apes? Obviously, the art is different, but the smart contract code is also extremely different. Bored Apes are ERC721 tokens, which means that each token is associated with metadata, which contains the image of the ape, among other things. This is awesome because when you purchase a Bored Ape token, that token is always going to be permanently associated with IPFS metadata about that ape. However, it's not really unique because there are already thousands of other ERC721 NFTs that are very similar to Bored Apes. In contrast, CryptoPunks is remarkable because its code is very unique and one of a kind. The CryptoPunks code is kind of a mishmash between ERC20 and ERC721. Because the CryptoPunks code is not ERC721 compliant, instead of having each punk be associated with metadata, you're instead buying only an index. This scheme has many flaws, as I've shown you, but it's a very fascinating look into how tokens have evolved over time. By looking at the CryptoPunks smart contract code, we can see the emergence of non-fungible tokens against the backdrop of all these fungible ERC20 tokens. In a way, when you buy an NFT, you're not only buying the metadata associated with that token, but also the smart contract code. In my opinion, if you haven't looked at the smart contract code behind your CryptoPunk, or you're not able to read the code, then you're not really able to fully appreciate the complexity and beauty of this new wonderful thing that you've just purchased. If you found this video helpful, please give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video where I cover V1 and V2 CryptoPunks.